Hello guys. Hello, I come back and we will watch a couple of videos. Sorry in advance, sorry guys, because I'm a little bit, I got cold, so maybe my voice is not like always. Yeah, and I'm starting to have coughing. So, I mean, that's an interesting interview that Tucker Carlson had with Huckabee, something like that. Is the ambassador of US in Israel. We can
Canadian Tire, proud partner of Team Canada.
Mike Huckabee tells Tucker Carlson that Israel has the biblical right to take over the Middle East.
Okay, wait, Tucker Carlson. To be honest, I don't like much Tucker Carlson because of his interview. You know, sometimes with people that he wants, he's very soft, like with Putin. He had an interview with Putin and he didn't do anything. He went to Russia and he didn't ask any tough questions. He was like, he was a good boy and give it like a good time to Putin to use his tribune for propaganda in Western countries. So basically, Tucker Carlson is pretty selective. With some people, he can ask very good questions. He can put them in a coin and in a corner, and you know, make give them a difficult time. But with some others, he just asks question without pushing back. So it's not very nice from him. I haven't heard also some very like things very the negative comments about Russia, about the Russian government. Not something that I hear, that I don't know if he said something or not. I'm not sure, but at least I haven't heard them.
Just so, you know, they don't mistake us for an Iranian drone. They said, well, okay, let's just do the interview at the airport in the diplomatic reception.
And I don't know what is his opinion about the situation in Iran and possibly the US intervention. I don't know.
Area at the airport. Okay, I said, we're going to be flying in from Europe, and we had to be in and out really quickly. So at great expense, we chartered a plane, which I never do because I'm cheap. But we did. And so then I said to them, okay, I want to send you the flight information, tail number, flight number, route, and I want you to pass that on to the Israeli military just so, you know, they don't mistake us for an Iranian drone or something. I mean, not to be paranoid, but again, this is probably the most violent country in the world, Israel. Is there a country in the world where a higher percentage of the population has held a gun or shot someone? I mean, I don't know the answer, but this is a country famously waging a 7-front war with all of its neighbors. So this is also the country that bombed the USS Liberty, knowing, we know this from NSA intercepts, that it was an American ship. So don't, just send the military our flight information, and, we can all just...
Something that he's saying, I don't care what about Israel, like what's going there. I'm not fan of Israel, but what he's saying, basically, the way that he presenting the the situation, it's just not true. It's not completely true. Like in the Middle East, the situation is basically it's not that Israeli attacked Yemen, Houthis attacked them. Like Hezbollah, the objective of Hezbollah is attacking to Israel, and it's and they get their money from Iran, the supreme leader. So the idea that Israel is a start war with everyone, I don't know the cases. Maybe there are different cases that they did that. I'm not defending them, but about that, the situation that actually is happening in the Middle East, it's mainly because of the extreme ideologies of these people, like these terroristic groups in the region.
Sort of know it's on the record and we can all calm down a little bit. No, they said. The U.S. Embassy said no.
What?
You've appealed to Genesis. Genesis 15 says it's Abram, it's pre-Abraham, it's Abram, receives from God the news that his descendants will inherit the land. And you tell me as the theologian if I'm getting this wrong, but from the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right.
Where?
And the Euphrates to the Nile. I think that's right. And that
Euphrates to the Nile. I will check. Euphrates. So it starts from Iraq to the Nile, which is Egypt. What does it mean? Okay, Greater Israel. So, what countries will be involved in that area? Okay, the phrase from the Euphrates to the Nile typically refers to a specific territorial concept rooted in biblical and political discourse. Most commonly associated with the idea of Greater Israel. Okay. The concept originates from Genesis in the Hebrew Bible, where God makes a covenant with Abraham. To your descendant I give this land, from the Valley of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates. Okay, so the Nile is specifically in the Pelusian branch. Sine Pluncia. Okay, Wadi al Arish. So there is a debate. What is the area? Okay, it's Solomon's kingdom. I don't know where is exactly, but that's okay. This is the major river following through modern day Iraq, Syria, and Turkey. Okay, political concepts. The term Greater Israel used this biblical marker to define a historical or ideological homeland. Okay, Zionist ideology. Historically, some nationalist and religious Zionist groups have used this river-to-river definition to claim a right to territory encompassing modern-day Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon. Oh, wow! The whole Jordan and Lebanon, and parts of Syria, Iraq, and Egypt, and so, wow, that's the world war. World war. They want the whole Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, and a part of 4 other countries. Okay, in February 2026, U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee drew international criticism for suggesting in an interview with Tucker Carlson that it characterized the comment as hyperbolic. Okay.
Would include like basically the entire Middle East. That would be the Levant, so that would be Israel, Jordan, Syria, Lebanon. It would also be big parts of Saudi Arabia and Iraq. It would be, I mean,
I'm not sure it would go that far. I mean, it would be a big piece of land, but here's the point.
It would be a lot of places that are now countries.
But this particular area that we're talking about now, Israel, is a land that God gave through Abraham.
See,
yeah, but what about the other countries? Now they are okay. Jordan, Lebanon. So we can call it Palestine, and we are talking about a part of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Iraq, and Syria. So basically seven countries. So they are going to fight with all 7 countries. So if you consider Palestine as a country, if not, it's 6 countries. So they are going to fight with all of them. What U.S. ambassador is suggesting? I'm curious to know.
this functionally really, like, I mean, I think that we don't really see it the same way because it's like Islam is another culture. But, like, I view this as just as bad and ridiculous and backwards and awful as these, like, fundamentalist Islamic imams that are saying, like, that because Muhammad married a young girl, like a 6-year-old or 9-year-old or 12-year-old or something, that, like, because he did that, now it's okay to do it in, like, current day. Like, this is basically the Christian, Jewish version of that. It is like it is insane religious fundamentalism that should be repudiated by everybody. It's crazy. Mark Huckabee's
basically it's very bloody. What they are suggesting, it's the idea that, okay, because they assume that area, because about the Nile River is a little bit different in interpretation, because as is here in the biblical origin, in that terms, it says, to your descendants I gave this land from the Wadi of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates. So basically about the Wadi of Egypt, as the Nile, specifically the Pelusian branch, other associated with the Wadi al-Arish in the Sinai Peninsula. So I think it's different, the area that they want to get. So I don't know exactly where it would be. It's not clear really. Okay, it's here. Okay, Sinai so is this area, but I think already Israel got that in the war with Egypt. But after Egypt accept to recognize the existence of Israel as a country and some other conditions, Israeli returned that area to Egypt, so they didn't get it. But you know, the extremists are the many problems around in the whole around the world. It's the main issue of the problems are extremists, religious extremists or nationalist extremists that cause problem, wars, tensions.
He's a senator?
Yeah. Is a land that God gave through Abraham to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism.
I wonder like what Jesus would think about Israel blowing up Palestinians and leveling Gaza. I wonder what Jesus would think about that.
Good. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I'm also curious to know how they are just indifferent about that. They are, and also, so he's religious and he's just saying that the Mark Huckabee, he's basically saying so because the land was in verse, the land was given to the Israelis, to the descendants of Abraham. So now they can attack and, you know, raising the other areas to the ground in other area, in other countries like Lebanon, like Jordan. I mean, they aren't doing that now, but what Mark Huckabee is basically suggesting, it's that. So how they are going to get the land?
Jeez. Who knows?
Go back, because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times.
That's good.
And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he did.
Isn't it convenient that in the book that they wrote, it says that they should get everything? I mean, what are the odds of that, right? Shit. I mean, is it really that simple? Yeah, well, if you look at the book that I wrote, it says right here that I get, all the stuff. Yeah, right, okay. How about that?
Didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis.
Yeah.
You're saying that's the
He's not appealing to Genesis, he's appealing to genocide.
original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
Oh my god. This is, yeah, you would want to just get it all. Oh my god. that that was the whole another level. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Is the US ambassador
Oh my god.
in Israel? Yeah, he's saying, get it all.
We gotta
Oh
do
my
something
God.
about this. Like, what genocide? The genocide that would have to occur in order for them to take over all of these lands and displace the native peoples of those lands,
Yeah,
and then inflict their will, culture, ideology, and way of life on those people that they have no right to do so to? The fuck?
ethnic cleansing is the minimum things that they need to do to get this land.
Do you mean? Like, yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. So they would be conquering? They would be.
I can turn your wildest ideas into a song. Just describe it in a few words, choose a style, and let Mareka the Fifth.
They would be, and I don't think that's, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't think that's the right way to do things. I don't.
What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis.
Yeah.
You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
We also really got to talk about the fact that,
You know, I would like to watch the whole conversation, but the problem is that the time of that. I think it's around 2 hours. Wait, I will check it. Huckabee. Yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes. That's fun to watch, but just I don't have time. Say stuff. Maybe I do that. I don't know. That will be fun, you know. But what we will go with the highlights for now.
and this is another factor. You know, we're really trying to work things out with Saudi Arabia, right? We're really trying to work things out with, you know, Qatar, with Syria, even, I mean, ultimately with Iran. And whenever we have a American official who's talking about basically greenlighting a mass genocide of everybody in fucking the Middle East to expand the size and influence of Israel, I think this really fucks us up. Like, we're not on message here, right? Like, I mean, this is a huge issue. It's a fucking massive issue that you have. So it's way out of context. I mean, what's the context here?
Okay. Okay, what?
Here. All right, bro, we Muslims should follow the country's laws. For example, in Saudi Arabia, the legal...
Okay. So basically, this conversation, this interview will give, will scare the other countries like Saudi Arabia, like Egypt, like Jordan, Syria, and they will be more cautious about the relationship with Israel, with USA. It's just not understandable. It's the it's a US official. His rank is very high. He's the US ambassador in Israel, and he's saying, get it all. What? So what's going on? How they are going to? There is a Abraham accord with Arab countries, and they want to more Arab countries join to make peace with Israel, like Saudi Arabia. And now the ambassador He's saying, okay, if the Israel want to get all these countries, that's okay. Let them get that. They get that.
Marriage is 18. Listen, bro, like I didn't say all Muslims are like that. What I was saying about like marrying young girls with Muhammad, I said that those are radical Islamist imams. Like, I know a lot of y'all don't do that, of course not. But I'm not talking about the normal guys. I'm talking about the nutballs. Like, I'm saying that like your nutballs that are like that are like our nutballs that are like this. That's the whole point that I'm making. Is it like that's my whole point, is that like, you guys have your nutballs, you have your problem boys, and it's a big issue. But we do too. And this is an example of it. That's what I'm really trying to get at more than anything. The fundamentalists on both sides, exactly. And so, like, this is really, can we put them all the nutballs in North Korea? I wish. Huckabee's logic is Israel were the...
And just another interesting point. I think this kind of ideas is for extremists. The extremist has this kind of ideas in Israeli, maybe, that they want to expand. But the hypocrisy is that they do not join the war. They do not go to the military. What is the military program? Like, they don't join soldiers. They are the religious people. They are exempt from doing that. So basically, like, others people, not religious or middle religious, they are going that. But the extreme one, the fundamentalists, they are not going to the military services. They are not doing that.
The good guys in the Bible, they can do no wrong. Yeah, if you say that you're the good guys, then you're the good guys. It's that simple. Is there even more of this? Wait a second. What the fuck?
In the entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total.
Okay.
And
so why the fuck they need the whole Middle East then? Like, damn, bro. Like, what? Really, think about this. Like, I mean, so you tell me they need Iran, like, and Saudi Arabia, bro? If there's that, man, that's greedy as hell. Like, for real. Like, you don't need that much space.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
8 million of them live here. The rest live mostly in New York or South Florida and a few other places.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is a small population of people.
Yeah.
They have connection to this land historically, biblically.
Do they?
Yes, they do.
If Bibi's family, we know they lived in Eastern Europe. There's no evidence they ever lived here. He's not religious.
But
in what sense?
How do we know that?
Do you have his family tree? No, we don't.
Do you?
Ancestrally, it means that the Native Americans should tell us to fucking leave and go back to Europe. Oh, fuck this. Fuck this. That's not how it works. Like, this shit happened 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. Like, get out of here. Bunch of bullshit.
He doesn't. So no one does. That's the point. So how do we know that he has any connection to this land at all?
And if there has been a practice of Judaism and a connection to the language, the Bible, the land.
His ancestors didn't. He doesn't practice Judaism in any rigorous way. His ancestors didn't live here. They didn't speak the language, and there's no evidence they ever lived here. So on what basis does he have a right to be here?
Very much speaks the language. Well, he has fought for the land. His family has fought for the land.
Dodging a very obvious question, which is, where does this right come from? And the reason it's meaningful is because there are a lot of people in the territory that Israel controls today, particularly in the West Bank, who, through genetic testing, we can know their families have been here for thousands of years.
Yeah. Fucking duh. Like, fucking obviously. When is this even like, yeah, duh. Like, this is, what do you think? They just spawned in? Yeah, bro, like, this is so, didn't Shakespeare mention Palestine? Like, I'm pretty sure Shakespeare used the word Palestine referring to that same general area.
Yeah, but the area... So what Shakespeare said, I don't know, because the area is the province of Palestine that was was named by Romans, and after that it was under control of Ottomans. After Ottomans failed, it was under control of UK. So, but I'm curious to know why, what Shakespeare said. Okay, mention Palestine in Othello. Yes, Shakespeare's mentioned Palestine in Othello in the play written around the character Emilia mentioned it when they say, I know a lady in Venice would have walked barefoot to Palestine for a touch of his nether lip. So what was important that if Shakespeare mentioned Palestine?
That was a long time ago. There's no way I was wrong about this, right? There's no way I was ever wrong. There's no way I could be wrong. You think I would be wrong? How could I be wrong? Fuck no, I would not be wrong. Like, there it is. See, I said, and this is like fucking 500 almost years ago, right? 450 years ago. So, you're wrong, Babs.
I don't know why he's mentioning that. I think he's mistakenly talking about the existence of Palestine in the history, but Palestine, yes, existed, and Muslims and Jews were living together because it is the whole province. It's not pretty small, but it's not just a city. So some areas I think it was with Jews, some others with Muslims, but I don't have like historical knowledge on that. I'm not going deep to it. I don't know. But yeah, but I don't know why Asmongold mentioned it. Also, what's the point?
I'm gonna be right again. I'll always be right.
We don't know whether they practiced Judaism, whether they were Samaritans, pre-Islam. We don't know that.
Yeah.
A lot of them we know have been Christians for 2,000 years. They have less of a right to the land than someone whose ancestors, the only thing we know about them is they lived in Latvia or Poland. They're Eastern European. How does that work?
Yeah. They're Jewish.
By what definition?
If you're Jewish, you get to that it's yours now. I mean, I think this is like, the funny thing is that like this is actually the meme. It was promised to us 3,000 years ago. Like, this needs to stop.
Oh my god, I think that the only way that it can work is that Palestinians and Israelis have their own separate countries. It's the only way that it can work. If not, I don't see how they can live together. I just don't see it.
They're Jewish by their
But how do we know they have any
ethnicity.
connection
They're
to
Jewish
the
by
Jews
their
of the,
faith. They're
of the
Jewish
Bible?
by the connection to the language. Jewish by the connection to the Torah.
But how do we know that Bibi, specifically Bibi's ancestors, ever lived here? How do we know that?
Can she stick the landing? She can! Oh, the crowd loves it!
That is superb brush control. A huge effort.
This is what we're made for, Canada.
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
Your question is, do they have an ancestral right to this land because it was theirs historically and based off of their ancestry? Why is it that a person who was...
But Tucker Carlson make a good point here. Yeah, but not about the ancestors of Bibi, of Netanyahu. I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about the people who were living there. They are Arabs, they are Muslims, Christians. So how they cannot live there? They should just move and leave the area for people who were from in Europe. So in the counter argument, I think the other side is saying so that these people, these Jews, were exiled in the history. So they were exiled to other countries. They had to leave the area. So because of that, they are returning. I understand that, but the point is that you cannot just say to other group of people who have been living there for centuries to say, leave, we are coming back. No, they were there. So the only feasible possibility is that they can make their own country, and Israeli can have their own country, like what they have now.
In Eastern Europe now has a blood ownership of a place based off of the Bible that they were never in. Like, I mean, I think this is a pretty good question.
How do we know if the Prime Minister of Israel's ancestors ever lived?
Maybe I could ask you, how do we know they didn't? I mean,
Well, it's on the base.
I'm so sick of him. We gotta do something about him. I have to listen to more about how that was promised to them 3,000 years ago.
Basis of the claim that they did, that
right.
all kinds of things happen. People are displaced. There's a money flow. I mean, it's a big question. A lot hangs on this.
Inventing a religious mandate so you can take over somebody's land is bullshit. It's obvious bullshit. It's something that should have been left whenever we invented electricity. The fact that we're still making decisions based off of this is fucking ridiculous. You want to go and take over the land and say that it's because we've got the bigger gun? Then say, all right, fine, go do it. But this weird bullshit where they try to act like, oh no, the book says it's okay. Who cares?
It's not some theoretical thing.
No, I don't think that the book just says like that. I think they are misinterpreting that. They are misinterpreting to their own benefits. The point is not that about just one verse. I think the verses should be written, it should be read in the chapter and chapter. You know, the verses in the paragraphs in the chapters, and chapters in the whole system of the book. But it just doesn't make any sense. They are what the extremist, the fundamentalist wants to do. That's problematic for sure, because you cannot be like believer and you just, you know, do ethnic cleansing and killing other peoples. It is just not feasible that you can get other countries. No, I think the Huckabee is basically blind. He says things without thinking about the consequences.
Like, oh, you know, did my grandparents do this or do that? It's like, no, we have a right to be here because my ancestors were here. Okay, how do we know they were here?
How we know this? Yeah, how do you even know?
I'm totally unable to process what you're trying to get at.
So,
I mean, I think it's a very good interview. I should watch it in the entirely.
We got an individual in chat. We got an individual. Keep getting your info from Expos. You became a joke. You're cringe. I'm wrong. So what are you mad about? You've been tweeting about that. You've been talking about this a little bit. What are you crying?
Wait, so Huckabee, we write it. How do we write it? So I want the highlights.
Don't platform anyone.
Well, you interviewed.
Not a.
So Tucker Carlson crash out when he covered the fact that lied about seeing a small boy. Okay, so Does it have more highlights?
You platformed a guy, you had him on your show.
Some lunatics.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
You platformed a guy, you had him on your show, Tony Aguilar.
Don't platform anyone. I
Well,
interview people.
you interviewed.
Not a liberal,
Tony
so I don't
Aguilar.
platform people.
Okay, you interviewed Tony
Yeah.
Aguilar, who claimed that IDF soldiers killed a little boy in his presence.
Uh-huh.
That didn't happen.
Okay.
It did not happen.
I don't
And here's-
know.
Let me
I
give you
don't
the
know
story.
if you know whether it happened or not.
Well, I
mean,
can tell you
he
why
was-
I know it didn't happen.
Okay.
Because we found that little boy less than a week later.
All right.
I was involved, heavily involved, in helping to extricate him from Gaza. 4 different countries were involved in getting he and his mother to safety, get them out of there. Tony Aguilar is a liar.
Okay.
Tony Aguilar claimed that he saw an IDF soldier shoot the little boy. He was fired from the GHF for cause, and he begged for his job back, and they wouldn't give it back because they didn't want him. And he told them that if they didn't give his job back, that he would burn them down.
Okay.
So he goes out. No, let me finish this
Okay.
because
No,
it's
I've-
important for you to
okay.
understand.
Right.
So this guy then goes out and makes up this story that he witnessed IDF soldiers shooting a little boy.
I don't know that he made it up. He seemed to believe it to me. It's possible he's wrong. I've been wrong many times.
Well, this is a little bit more than just missing a fact. He claimed to be an eyewitness to the murder of a little boy. A little boy that a week later we found.
And you're sure it's the same little boy?
We're absolutely
How
certain.
do you know that?
Because we have pictures of him. We had descriptions of him. We know his name. We know his mother.
Okay.
He was extricated out of Gaza. It was a very delicate situation to get him out because if Hamas had found out that he was still alive, they would have killed him in order to validate Aguilar's story.
How do you know that?
So he gets out.
How do you know Hamas would have killed him?
Why wouldn't they? Wouldn't they have wanted to kill him? Because that way they could have said that this story was true,
Look,
that
I'm-
Aguilar.
if-
I'm just
I mean, Hamas would do that for sure. I don't have any doubt that Hamas is a kind of group that they can do it without hesitation. But about the whole story that they are discussing, I just don't know who is saying the truth. It's the first time that I'm watching it.
telling you that
What
this
you're
kid
saying is
alive
true, and I have
today.
no basis of knowing.
Yeah.
I'm really glad because I don't
Good.
want little kids to get killed, even 14-year-olds. Okay.
You shouldn't want anyone to
But
get
let
killed.
me ask you, is it true he also made the claim, and he had audio of it and video too, that U.S. contractors were using live ammunition to disperse crowds? And he had video of that. Do you know did he make up that video?
There were times, here's what happened. Crowds would come toward the sites. They were given verbal warnings, and then they were given additional verbal warnings, and shots were fired either in the air, sometimes in the ground. And if they continued to come and threaten, there were times when there were people who were engaged in firefights. That happened.
Oh, they were armed?
Sometimes they were.
They were. Do you know of specific instances?
So sometimes they weren't, it seems. If sometimes they were armed. So sometimes no. So why they were shot?
Where they were armed?
I can probably get you some specific
I don't
information
think,
about that.
I think I know the answer to that. I don't
Okay.
think there's any evidence at all that they were
But
armed.
I also know that
Are
the
you
new-
okay with using live ammunition at aid distribution sites for families, women, and
Well,
children?
very rarely did this happen near.
How about
aid
at all?
distributions.
Are you okay with that?
No. I'll tell you what I'm not
seem like
okay
you're
with.
okay
No. I think you are so trying to put words in my mouth. and that's
You
that's
said that they
very-
were firing back, but then there's no evidence that they were.
On a Sunday afternoon, I can remember when there was widespread reports on BBC, CNN, and the New York Times, and they said that 27 people were killed at a feeding site. We had video extensively over that site. Not one single person, not only were they not shot, nobody was shot at. There was not one bit of violence that happened at that feeding site.
trying to
but
get
that
me
was-
to defend BBC? Not going to do that. It's like
hope
defending Hamas. I agree with you. I don't believe anything I see in the media. It's just that it's really simple. If people are using, and these were American contractors, by the way, these are not Israelis that I'm aware of. American
But yeah, about BBC and New York Times, no. I just don't trust them at all. These medias, no.
contractors run by some crypto minister or something was running the group. If they're using live ammunition at an aid distribution site, that strikes me as totally unacceptable.
They were not firing
Does
at
it seem
crowds.
acceptable to you?
They were not firing
If
at crowds.
people got killed, there's a way
And
to...
some of those people got killed because Hamas were trying to keep them from getting to the aid distribution sites because Hamas was controlling the food. Hamas made $500 million selling the food that was supposed to be given away for
Not gonna
free.
defend him.
Okay, just to say, you know, there are many claims, you know, from different group of people, different sides. They say different things that it's possible that can be true. Like if Hamas doing that, I know that Hamas is a kind of group that they do that. They don't have any problem to kill their own people, for sure. But you know what? So to avoid this kind of problems, misunderstanding and misinformation, so why Israelis don't let independent international media reporters present there, like in Gaza? So if they are there, so they can give a better picture about that. So the claims that comes from different sides, to be honest, just difficult to accept it, because you cannot without any bias to accept one scenario, one of the narratives. It's not possible. We don't know. Like we are here, we are thousands of miles away, and we just hear different possibilities. We cannot find out. But if it's true, so why Israeli don't just let international media present there, and they can confirm it, so it's good for them. So you know, this is a problem.
And what they were trying to do is to keep people from going to the sites where they were getting food for free. When we set GHF
That's
up,
possible.
Hamas
the
bad,
first thing that
BBC
happened,
bad.
I know,
Agreed.
but I'm telling you, the first thing that people said was, wow, this is the first time we've had food that we got for free.
Is it
Because they
okay
had
to
buy
shoot
it.
unarmed people?
I just told you it wasn't.
That's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Of course it's awful.
Are all lives equal, do you think?
Of course they are.
So the death of a Palestinian is every bit as important and significant as the death of Israel?
Why wouldn't it be? Of course it is.
I don't know.
Of course it is. There's no such thing as a human soul that God made that is less valuable than another. I'm pro-life.
Me too.
So I believe that every life has intrinsic worth and value. There's no such thing as a worthless or a completely disposable life. That's
Right.
what makes me pro-life, Tucker.
I totally agree.
And I believe that from the conception until the end of natural life.
That's why I would never say when confronted with the death of children, war is terrible, because it minimizes the deaths of those children. It's awful. And
I don't think it minimizes. I think it is
War is
outrageous. It's a terrible thing. I wish we never had war. Why do we have war?
We're about to have one with Iran, it looks like. How many Americans do you think will die in that war?
I hope none. None died last year when we participated in the 12-day war. Not one.
My
You
sense
said
is-
20,000 would die, and they didn't.
I said could, and they could have. And,
But
and
they
they could
didn't.
die.
So the question is that you know, guys, just one moment. Okay. So basically, what I'm saying, I just one moment. So there is a problem in my stream in YouTube. Just I check what's the problem. Okay, so it seems that this stream is now coming back. So it was a problem. I don't know what was the problem exactly in YouTube, but for now it seems it's okay. Okay, so the point that I wanted to make is actually about what they were talking about.
Participated in the 12-day war, not one.
My sense
You said
is-
20,000 would die, and they didn't.
I said could, and they could have. And
But
they
they
could die now, and that's a real risk.
How many boots on the ground do you think the U.S. has supplied for Israel over the course of its life?
Have one with Iran, it looks like. How many Americans do you think will die in that war?
Okay, so my point is about Iran. So one of the, I would say, hypocrisy of Tucker's Tucker Carlson is that. So he's talking about the equality of lives and this kind of things. So in Iran, they killed in less than 2 days 36,500 people minimum, just to the peaceful protesters. They were out, they were peacefully on the street. They wanted the regime change, and the government decided to start massacring them. So 36,000, the minimum death tolls. It's just death tolls in 2 days. It's astonishing. So now, why Tucker Carlson is against any military intervention if the lives are important, every human's life? Because if US don't do anything, so the government can kill more, because they arrested thousands of people. So why USA, why is against that, against a military intervention? And Tuckerson is what he's doing usually. He's just very selective. He can very well. He's very professional. He can push back. He can put people on a corner, ask difficult questions. But sometimes he's selective. Like when it comes to, for example, Putin, he don't ask any difficult questions. Not at all. He just let Putin talks. And give his propaganda to the Western countries, and nothing. And it's about also like about some kind of other countries, some kind of problems in the Middle East, like about a nuclear program of Iran. He seems very silent. He seems like his position is more toward Qatar. I hear that he has some relationship with Qatar royal family. I don't know what is that. I will check it. I'm curious to know if it's real or not. So Tucker Carlson. Royal family. Okay. I'm really curious to know if Tucker Carlson has a relationship with Qatar royal family. Okay. Why Tucker Carlson does not have a formal or official relationship with the Qatari royal family? He has recently developed high-profile ties to the country's leadership and announced significant personal investment there. Okay. Key recent developments. Property purchase in Qatar. In December 2025, Carlson announced that the Doha forum that he was purchasing a home in Qatar. He stated this was both because he found the city beautiful and to make a statement that he is the free man who can live anywhere. Access to leadership. Carson has conducted high-profile interviews with top Qatari officials, most notably Prime Minister, who is a member of royal family. These interviews have been criticized by some as whitewashing Qatar's image. Yeah, particularly regarding its leadership with Hamas. That's true. That's true. And also, he's very friendly with. It seems to me he's very, you know, very nice, very friendly with Qatari. But one question is that I think during the World Cup, when Qatar was the host, I think thousands of workers, died because of the harsh conditions of work there. So I will also check that. So did Tucker Carlson talked about it or not? That's a good question to ask to him. Okay, is it true that many workers died because of the work condition in Qatar? For hosting the World Cup. Okay. While it is true that many migrant workers died in Qatar during the decade leading up to the 2022 World Cup, the exact number and their direct cause of death remain a subject of intense debate due to differing definitions and a lack of transparent data. Yeah, I mean, for sure. From these countries, they are not democratic, so they just hide it to avoid any image damage. Okay, so official organizing committee, which I can't say they lie, it's not just difficult. They say 38 death, so which I do not consider it. Qatar's revised estimate. Oh, okay, they revise it. That's interesting. So they said first that 38 death and workers specifically building World Cup stadiums. 37 non-workers related and free work related. Okay, non-work related and free work related. So this is the official data. And suddenly, after the Guardian report in 2021, in 2022, they revise it. That's interesting. Look, in 2021, so they reported that at least 6,500 migrant workers from 5 South Asian nations had died in Qatar since it won the bid in 2010. But 1 year after that, I mean couple months, I don't know, in late 2022, The official estimated the total number of work-related deaths across all infrastructure projects for the tournament at 400 to 500. Basically, from 3, they reach to 500. You know, you can see that they are liars. Dictators, they just lie. This is the, it's just their job. And Tucker Carlson, he is very, he just close his eyes about this kind of situation, and he just, I don't know why, but probably has some benefits. He just following, it seems to me, his own interests. He doesn't care also about people's death. Like, why he don't care about the war, the condition in Iran? Why he doesn't talk about that if really he cares about people's life?
Crying about now? What are you getting pissed off for? They said it's promised to them long ago because they reject Jesus in the new covenant. Yeah, it's like, just because you want to play classic doesn't mean everybody else has to. Fuck. Like, it's ridiculous. Let me see. I mean, really, like, I don't know what else to say. Like, I mean, damn. Called him I'm an Aussie. No, it's fine. Let me see, what is this? Because we got somebody mad. All my messages keep getting censored because I talk about Jews? Yeah, because Jews is it's a protected word because y'all can't stop talking about that bullshit. Y'all, like, there's so many people in chat will bring up, it's the Jews! We're gonna get to the bottom of this. That are worth looking. Ban him. I'm not. Well, I think we're gonna farm him again. He'll be funny, and yeah, it'll be all right. And he's there. Well, yeah, they're pissed because they picked one plot in Middle Eastern land doesn't have oil. Syria has oil.
Okay. Word red. Okay, you said that I add you on my Discord. Okay, but I don't have yet Discord. Maybe in future I will make one.
Saudi has oil. Jordan has oil. They have buyer's remorse. You think they're mad because they don't have oil? Maybe. Let me see if there's any more of this that's worth looking at.
Okay, Netanyahu's family is from Poland. He doesn't practice Judaism. There is no evidence his ancestors ever lived here. They never spoke the language. On what basis does he have a right to be here? Huckabee, I'm totally unable to process what you're saying.
But I really don't know. It's just, yeah, Mike Huckabee, I don't even know what this is at all. And I'm on team not letting him starve Cuban. Huckabee, I don't even know what this is at all. And I'm on team not letting them starve Cubans. It's not their government that's starving them. It's ours, you fucking moron. The Cuban government doesn't do anything to people. They're actually starving them. It's ours.
I'm on the team. Let's not starve Cubans. It's not their governments that is starving them. It's ours, you fucking morons. What's going on in Cuba? Okay, what's that? Does this guy have opinion that doesn't amount to my team versus your team? I don't know what's going on in Cuba. Okay. Cabello raises awareness for the living conditions in Cuba. It has been 67 years of a failing dictatorship and an oppressive regime. The Cuban people are suffering in an echo chamber where no one can hear them because to speak is to risk your life. Yeah, that's terrible. Life in the dictatorship is just so difficult. I'm just so sorry for them. 67 years they are in the communist dictatorship. That just they disappear their oppositions. Any people who talk just about their rights. I hope the governments have the same fate as their brothers in Venezuela. Nicolas Maduro.
You fucking moron.
I hope really the people of Venezuela and people of Cuba become free, and they can choose their own life, but themselves. Their governments and their future of their country.
Cuban government doesn't do anything to people. They're actually great. And Tucker Carlson. I think this should just pop up, right? Yeah, let me see if there's any more of this. Be fine. I took it all. I already saw that before as well. There's this one too, and about the Iraq War. Oh, here we go.
How many boots on the ground has the U.S. placed on behalf of Israel?
However many went to Iraq. We did that for Israel.
No, I don't think we did.
But you said we did it because of 9/11?
That was the U.S. justification for it.
But it wasn't for
the
9/11. So what was the actual reason?
Well, the U.S. government told us it was for 9/11. They told us that they were part of it, that they had weapons of mass destruction.
But they knew
Remember
they had
all
nothing to
that?
do with 9/11, obviously.
Maybe
There's no
not.
evidence.
But I'm
so
telling
what
you
was the
that
actual
Israel
reason?
was not in that component. But
Israel had no influence on our decision to invade Iraq. That's not what the people who
the U.S. government wasn't
for 9/11. However,
has the U.S. placed on behalf of Israel.
However many went to Iraq. We did that for Israel.
No, I don't think we did.
But you said we did it because of 9/11?
That was the U.S. justification for it.
But it wasn't for
the
9/11. So what was the actual reason?
Well, the U.S. government told us it was for 9/11. They told us that they were part of it, that they had weapons of mass destruction.
But they knew they
Remember
had
all
nothing
that?
to do with 9/11, obviously.
Maybe
There's no
not.
evidence.
But I'm
so
telling
what
you
was the
that
actual
Israel
reason?
was not in that component. But
Israel had no influence on our decision to invade Iraq. That's not what the people who made the decision say. They say Israel.
Well, let me get back to the point.
Gave us that information about the fake weapons of mass destruction. Where do you think that came from? It came from Bibi.
How many Americans put their boots on the ground for Israel? The answer is zero.
Everybody who served in Iraq put their boots on the ground for Israel.
Did not.
No, I mean the idea. I mean, he need really to have. Okay, another problem with the stream in YouTube. Just I check what's the problem. just don't get it. What's the problem? So I think it's good now.
Where did we get the information about the weapons of mass destruction that wasn't
We
real?
didn't get that from. You're saying we got that from Israel? That Israel was one pushed us into that?
Well, absolutely.
You really believe that?
I know that for a fact.
For
And
a
so does
fact.
every. Yes, this has been widely written about and discussed. And I'm not attacking Israel. Like, they thought it was in their interest to take out a government that was paying the families of suicide bombers. I get it. I'm not mad at Israel about that. I never have been. I'm mad at the Bush administration and all the people who went along with this to the detriment of my country. That's who I'm mad at. Not Israel.
So basically, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, Israel is just told to US, come for us, and they said, okay, we are coming for you, without considering their benefits, their interest. Maybe it's Israeli just suggested that to them. I can assume that because Saddam, the president of the dictator of Iraq, was the enemy of Israel. But the idea that US says, okay, we are coming for you for Israel, we are going to fight, doesn't seem to me correct. I think they had their own interest. Maybe Israeli push that, they suggest that, they talk about it, and USA finds out that okay, it's good for ourselves.
Israel. Bibi's doing what he can for his country, whether you agree with him or not. I want my leaders to do the same for my country. That's it.
I can turn your wildest ideas into a song. Just describe it in a few words, choose a style, and let Mareka V.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I actually was curious what he was going to say, right? And, oh shit, Tucker Carlson endorsed eugenics?
Abram's descendants are the ones who have the right to have this land, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
Why don't we
big.
do genetic testing on everybody in the land and find out who Abram's descendants are? It's really
What? You're going to make a test for how many people? 10 millions, I think they are in Israel, and 5 or 6 millions in West Bank and Gaza. I think, I don't know how many they are. Is it really feasible to do that? The suggestion is not very logic, and who is the descendants of Abraham? How do you want to find the DNA of Abraham that you test that? The suggestion is just not correct, not feasible.
simple. We've cracked the human genome. We can do that. Why don't we do that? Would you be against doing that?
Really?
I have no idea what that would prove. I mean,
Really?
maybe it would
Well, it would prove that it would prove that it was theirs. Like, what do you mean?
be.
What do you mean? What it would
Like-
prove who Abram's descendants are
Yeah,
and
duh.
who has a right to live here
Uh-huh.
and who doesn't, according to the theology that you yourself
Yeah.
just explained.
Wait, how do you want to find the descendant, the DNA of Abraham, that you want to use it to check if they are his descendant or not? How it's going to work? It just beside the fact that 20 millions, how you are going to do this test for around 20 millions of people.
And so I'm very
It's like, okay, I've invented this theological justification. Okay, well, let's look into who actually would be justified. Oh, jeez, would you look at the time?
confused as to why we don't do that.
Oh,
If you believe the theology that you've just explained to me,
Would we do that all over the world?
Well,
and everybody
this
would
is the
well, no, because there's no like that. And actually, yes. Like, this is what do you talk about? So, like, for example, if you go and you say, like, listen, this is like, let's say some guy dies and someone says, I'm their son. And then they're like, well, no, you're not. They said, okay, well, let's test it genetically. Oh, it is their son. Oh, okay. I guess they're going to get this person's belongings because they're next of kin.
Yeah, but it's just one person and it's expensive, by the way. It's not cheap, but it's for one person. You're going to check it, that's okay. You're talking about 20 million. How you're going to do the logistic of that?
Oh, wait a minute. We do have paternity tests. No way.
Only
With the
country in the
Brits?
world that you've said has this covenant with God.
Wait. Okay, as Asmongold also finds out that is a good idea, so I'm going to check it. Is it feasible to do a genetic test for finding out who are the descendants of Abraham? Israel, Palestine. Is it feasible to do a genetic test for finding out who are the descendants of Abraham in Israel, Palestine? And people of Israel, Palestine. So we will check. Technically, determining descendants of descendant of Abraham through genetic testing is a complex challenging that mixes cutting-edge science with ancient religious tradition. While genetic can trace ancestry and common origins, the concept of a single Abraham is more theological than biological. Yeah. Here is the breakdown of what is scientifically feasible versus what remains in the realms of faith. The scientific limitation, the most recent common ancestor. From a purely genetic standpoint, if a person named Abraham lived around 4,000 years ago and had many children, mathematically suggests that almost everyone currently living in the Middle East and beyond it would likely be his descendant. The delusion problem. After 4,000 years, the specific DNA of one individual is so diluted through thousands of ancestors that it is impossible to isolate Abraham's DNA specifically. No reference no reference sample. We do not have the DNA of the biblical Abraham to compare against living people. Okay. Is that possible?
God,
The
that this
covenant with
people have
God.
a moral and legal right to the land.
What about
And
people
so-
who convert to Judaism? Would they have a right?
Well, you've just said
I mean,
that
there are
it's not
converts to Judaism, so
No. Under your logic, they don't, because they're not the descendants. Like, it's just,
You just told
they
me.
can make aliyah. They may not have
You've just
DNA.
told me that it doesn't matter. You told me moments ago, trying to keep track,
Okay.
that it doesn't matter whether or not
yeah, send Mari Povich over to Israel.
you believe in God or whether or not you practice Torah Judaism or Rabbinic Judaism, which is something else that I don't even know if we should, I don't even know what that means. But it doesn't matter whether you're, quote, a religious Jew or not. What matters is that you are part of the Jewish people to whom God gave this land that
Yeah.
extends from the Nile to the Euphrates. And so if you believe that, wouldn't you want to know with a burning passion who those people are. And
No, they
because
don't want to know that because they know it's not them.
of science, we
reason
can
why
now
it's
know
obvious.
who those people are.
If they had the science on their side, would they do it? Of course.
So why aren't we finding out?
Go.
How are you?
I guess you could propose a DNA test for everybody who comes here, everybody who lives here. But the point
I'm comfortable with
Yeah.
secular nation states
Yeah.
where it's none of this is done on the basis of blood. I'm uncomfortable with that. I'll just say that.
Oh, wait.
Okay, so I will come back, guys. Just one moment. Okay. I come back, guys.
All right. So he asked him about Epstein. I wasn't going to look at another one, but now I have to see it.
Why are millions of Epstein files still classified? Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I haven't kept up with that.
He does.
I've never met
I don't even know
the man. I don't know him.
Oh,
You haven't kept up with the Epstein disclosure?
I mean, only from a distance. I'm 6,000 miles away from D.C. these days, and I'm pretty sure that there's so
The
much
current-
going on.
well, so is Epstein sometimes. All right. So he asked him about Epstein. I wasn't going to look at another one, but now I have to see it.
Why are millions of Epstein files still classified? Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I haven't kept up with that.
He does.
I've never met
I don't even know
the man. I don't know him.
Oh,
You haven't kept up with the Epstein disclosure?
I mean, only from a distance. I'm 6,000 miles away from D.C. these days, and I'm pretty sure that there's so
The
much
current-
going on.
well, so is Epstein sometimes.
President of Israel, current president, who I know you know, President Herzog,
Knowing very well.
apparently was at Pedo Island.
Oh, not good.
That's what it says in the disclosures.
That's what
and
he
of course,
calls
we
it.
know that the former Prime Minister, Ehud Barak, was living on and off at Epstein's house.
I didn't know. Oh my god. Ishaq Herzog was on the Epstein Island. Really? Wait, I'm going to check it. That the president of Israel was on the Epstein Island. It is not true that the current president Ishaq Herzog visited Jeffrey Epstein's Iceland. Really? The confusion likely stems from a recent series of events involving misinformation and a high-profile retraction. Oh, okay. Tucker Carlson's retraction in February 2026. Commentator Tucker Carlson publicly apologized to President Herzog for falsely claiming in an interview that he had visited Pedo Iceland. Okay. Carlson admitted he had no evidence for the claim and retracted it after receiving an equivocal denial from Herzog's office. Okay, the source of rumor. Okay. And widely circulated photo proposal showing the two together. Oh, okay. AI generated fake. Wow. So how that possible that that's good that I checked. I wasn't sure. It was the first time that I heard about him. Fortunately, I checked it. Oh my god, we need to check everything.
House. So, still living high.
I mean, if they're talking in the emails about Epstein being a Mossad agent, like, do you really not have any input to that?
Level Israeli officials are directly implicated in Epstein's life, if not his crime. So I would think that you'd be following this.
You would assume
Only,
this.
I was not aware that there was any connection with President Herzog. I would be surprised to hear that, and knew there was about
He's on the island.
the former prime minister, who apparently had a lot of dealings with Epstein.
Business dealings. And
Yes.
by the way, I'm not alleging anything, but I mean, it's in the Epstein files. And I don't know that I've heard the current president of Israel respond to it, but he is listed as a visitor to Pedo Island. So that's kind of a big deal. I wonder,
It's kind of a big deal. I would agree that's also a big deal.
considering there are so many suggestions in the files, as I'm sure you know,
Yeah.
of sexual abuse, and given that Jeffrey Epstein was a convicted sex offender, I wonder why the administration you work for would be holding millions of files, which I believe belong to the public, hidden for, quote, national security reasons. What would those national security reasons be, do you think?
Honestly, I think you've probably got more access to the White House sometimes than I do. You should ask them.
Your iPhone 17 needs our most advanced mouse case ever, with the most...
Well, but you're the government official representing that White House.
In Israel. And I represent the U.S. in Israel to the Israeli government from the U.S. government. But honestly, nobody has presented that to us.
Well, now
we have
that
a
you
pretty
know that
dynamic situation here. I don't know if you know that or not, but there's a lot going on in this part of the world. And frankly, that has not been top line item.
But you're surprised to hear that the current president of Israel, whom you know, is listed as a visitor to Pedo Island.
Had never heard that. Never heard it even in the Israeli press.
Are you going to...
Finally, it
Really?
wasn't true.
That's interesting. Wow. That's a little bit of a double self-report, huh? Wow.
ask him next time you see him?
I'll be happy to. Talk to him almost every week.
I guess what I'm asking is not simply as a representative of my government or a high U.S. official,
So
but
you're-
just as
as a
like a
guy,
man and a
yeah.
father and a Christian. How could you resist saying, like, were you on Pedo Island with Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, if I'm not aware of it, and secondly,
Wait. Really? For real? Carlson is asking the U.S. ambassador to ask a president of another country then if he was on the island without the permission of the administration, Trump administration, because by the way, he's representing the US, so he's the representative of USA government. So he cannot do whatever he wants. He cannot go and just ask any random questions. Really? Is he asking that?
there are a lot of things that go on in the world. I don't question every single person about every single thing that may be
President
alleged
of the
about.
country.
I understand all
Yeah.
that, but this is the first I've ever heard of this. So
This is an appeal to triviality so he can downplay it. That's what he's doing.
why do you expect me to have knowledge of something like that?
Well, because you attacked me personally for suggesting that Jeffrey Epstein had ties to Mossad, and you said that.
Do you think he does?
What's
Well, yeah, because he said, tell people that I'm not a Mossad agent, and he was saying that to the previous prime minister of Israel, so he would be connected to Mossad. And then he said that with his smiley face, and then they never explicitly denied it in private correspondence. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that's kind of, I mean, I think that's substantial, personally. Like, that's, Lamau, you can't be serious. I absolutely am. Give me a minute. This is by E.H. Barak. This is the previous prime minister of Israel. And it says, unfortunately not, and you should make it clear that I don't work for Mossad. He says you or I. This is a smiley face.
very clear he does from the
You think
files.
he does?
Surely I was
From-
lying.
Where do you get that?
Well, the fact that he was in contact repeatedly with members of the Israeli government, including the current president and the former prime minister, and all kinds of Israeli intel-connected people, I'm not saying he worked for Mossad. I don't think we know that. But there's no question that he had extensive contact with CIA.
But I think you said it, a turning point event. Everybody knows Jeffrey Epstein.
I think that there was an advantage that Mossad gained through Jeffrey Epstein. The question is whether it was intentional or not. Like whether he was a willing participant or they just simply had tabs on him and they weaponized those tabs. That's really it.
everyone
Epstein.
I think that there was an advantage that Mossad gained through Jeffrey Epstein. The question is whether it was intentional or not. Like whether he was a willing participant or they just simply had tabs on him and they weaponized those tabs. That's really it.
No, I think Epstein, I think he was. I mean, until now, what I heard from the documents, I think the Epstein was participating, like giving information and collaborating with different intelligence agency like Mossad, like maybe CIA, maybe MI6, maybe even FSB in Russia, intelligence service. Even I heard that Russians give access to, he gives him access to the minors, Russian girls, for honey trap the important people. I don't know the details. I don't know if it is true or not, but this is something that it make sense. I think he was a like intelligence broker. He was in contact with many agencies and collaborating with them.
Everyone thinks, and it turns out everyone was right, that he did have.
I'm not sure everyone was right or everyone thinks.
Okay, but you said that I was lying, and I don't want to make this about me.
I don't think I said you were lying, Tucker. I don't recall.
I'm just saying, why don't we release all the files, and then we don't need to guess?
I got no problem with that. Go ahead.
Would
but
you
it's
call
not
on
mine.
well, because you weighed in on it and said that this was not true. When of
I
course,
said there was no evidence.
well, there's quite a bit of evidence, but
Yes.
you haven't apparently bothered.
It's like, well, there's no evidence. It's not true. Well, there's no evidence. Well, I thought you said you didn't look at anything. I didn't.
to read any of the files. Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
Have not read the Epstein files.
Yes.
Apparently you have.
Well, they're on the
But,
internet.
but when you say
Implying
that
us, yes.
that everybody knows that Jeffrey Epstein was a Mossad
that
agent,
everyone believes that.
I don't think everybody does. I don't know.
Well, everyone knows that he had contact with, and by the way, not just Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, which is much more distressing for me. I'm not Israeli, I'm American. I don't want
Yeah,
my
that would
government
stress me
having
out.
any contact with someone like Jeffrey Epstein. So the shame
I wouldn't either.
is on the United States, as far as I'm concerned, just to be
Yes.
totally
Yeah.
clear about that. Everyone's very sensitive about the Israel connection, not at all sensitive about the U.S. connection, which I find very revealing. We should
Yep.
care about what our government does first, I think. But since you weighed in on it and said there's no evidence, I'm surprised that since that evidence has been open to the public for a month, since you've already weighed in publicly on this question, that you've made no effort to evaluate that evidence.
I mean, that's, I like Asmongold's videos. It's good, and his comments also, I found it good. I'm interested to know also his opinion. But yeah, so that's it. Okay, what is that? I mean, that's sad how intelligence services knew about Epstein, but they prefer to be silent, try to I don't know what was the real relation that they had with Epstein, but oh my god, it's so dark, it's so satanic that if they knew about every crimes that he was doing, but they closed their eyes, they let him do that, and they get the interest of that. They could, I think, use for their objectives. It's terrible. So,
Take charge of your health with the #1 doctor-recommended multivitamin. Up top, Centrum. You did it!
reactive Asmon being reacted to. Why people actually hate Asmongold. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. It's actually a really good video. Okay. All right.
I find it quite strange how a lot of people on the internet just jump to conclusions without any hint of evidence. It's sad
They're stupid. Mystery solved.
to see how critical thinking seems almost endangered among the chronically online. A lot of people just follow trends of hatred without actually taking the time to find evidence to back up their accusations. Just because a lot of people are saying
that's sad. Yeah, they just accuse them without being fully assured of that and having the proof for it. Just accusing.
saying something doesn't make it true. We've seen this happen with a lot of public figures, especially in recent years. A good example would be J.K. Rowling. I'm convinced the majority of people who hate her do so simply because others are Rowling. I'm convinced the majority of people who hate
The world need less critical thinking. Oh my god. I mean, J.K. Rowling, she was really innocent. As much as I know about, I think, about her comments, her tweets on Twitter. It was about, I think, transgender, and usually, I mean, she didn't do anything wrong. She was basically defending the rights of women for sports. One of them, it was that. And so she wasn't against trans. She was just talking about that maybe women should have their own space, public space, and they should have also their own sport. With and trans have their own. It's not possible that the trans come and participate in the competitions, and they can win more easily. But I don't remember the exact reason of J.K. Rowling's what happened, but I will ask my assistant. J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling. And the critiques that she received about transgenders and women's rights. Okay, so J.K. Rowling has been at the center of a long excuse me guys, like I got cold, so sometimes I need to clear my voice. Okay, J.K. Rowling has been at the center of a long running and intense controversy regarding her view on transgender rights, which she frames as a defense of women's sex-based rights. Key comments and stands. Demonstrate tweet. Okay, the controversy escalated in June 2020 when she mocked a headline that used the phrase "people who menstruate." Oh my god, what was that? It was a headline. People who menstruate, arguing that the word should simply be woman. Women, yeah, that's true. It's just women. Oh my god, I cannot believe that in 2020 some people just lost their mind. There is nothing complicated. It's just women who menstruate. Core beliefs. In a detailed essay, she stated that while she supports trans right to live free from persecution, she believes raising the concept of sex harms women's ability to discuss their lives. She specifically cited concerns about single-sex spaces like bathrooms and shelters, and the medical transitioning of minors. Personal motivation. Rowling reveals that her views partly shaped by her past as a survivor of domestic abuse and sexual assault, leading her to advocate for protected female-only spaces. Major critics and backlash. Yeah, Harry Potter stars, like Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah, and Rupert Grint. Okay, publicly distanced themselves from her view, stating that trans women are women. In 2024, Rowling suggested she would not forgive them for supporting what she views as a movement eroding women's rights. That's that's true. I mean, it's a common sense. LGBT advocacy group organizations like GLAD and Stonewall have condemned her rhetorics as transphobic and dangerous, accusing her of spreading misinformation about trans people. Why? Just because she talked about where was the comment? Just about the fact that women menstruate. Really? Just a transphobic? Oh my god! It's just they use many people for different topics. Not just that about trans, but in like Israel, Palestine, like politics. They just use words, they weaponize them and try to use against them. But the problem is that maybe at first it works, but in short term maybe, but they use it because they find it effective. They use it. They continue to using them against other people, and during a period of time, it just loses its meaning and its effectiveness.
Do so simply because others do, because it's become a popular trend. I remember watching a video on critical thinking by a teacher, Warren Smith. In this video, Warren challenges a student of his to actually think for themselves on this exact topic.
Yep. Okay, yes, just one moment, guys. I will come back. Yeah, I need hot water a little bit for my throat.
All he did was encourage his students to broaden his perspective and look into the situation himself, using rationality and critical thinking.
So let's get specific though, and let's define bigoted.
Using rationality and critical thinking.
So let's get specific though, and let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigot, you're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions.
Yeah.
So first, let's start with, does she?
This is the way most people start at the conclusion and they work backwards. That's the way that most people think, unfortunately.
Bigoted opinions. So when you say bigoted opinions,
She has.
So I guess now that we're looking at
2
it,
minutes
like,
later.
there's not much difference between me or her. Do you think it's fair that she's being attacked by a large group of people? And
Yeah,
people are
is that
calling,
fair?
Like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about
Yep.
Harry Potter?
They start
Now,
with the conclusion.
Retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase it?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
Warren Smith then apparently got
Well, no,
fired.
that makes that kid smarter than 90% of people on the internet. 90% of people on the internet would have never said that. But at the end of
Yeah.
that, they would have said, F.
Yeah, that's true. I think many people, because of their ego, they just don't say it. But no, he was honest. Yeah, he find out about his mistake and he say it.
Oh, bro, you really a transphobe, though. Like, oh, bro, this guy sucks. Yeah, no, actually based. Yeah, based kid. Because not everybody's going to know everything.
From his teaching job for encouraging critical thinking.
So it happened yesterday. I was fired from my full-time teaching position.
Yeah.
This decline in critical thinking is one of the many reasons I believe a lot of people dislike Asmongold. In certain online
People don't like critical thinking because critical thinking breaks down narratives, and a lot of people that are in charge of internet communities have more of a allegiance to a narrative than they do to the community or to truth. And so anybody, like, you think about it like this, right? If you apply critical thinking, you come to conclusions that are inconvenient. Like, for example, I think that trans sports are like one example of that. Or you could look at it with climate change, I would say. Or you could look at it with other types of like human rights. And if you apply critical thinking to these topics and you evaluate them logically, you come to conclusions that are oftentimes oppositional to what side, quote, that you're on. And people don't want to be on the wrong side, because one thing we've learned about the internet is that if you're wrong by 1%, you might as well just be the opposite.
Yeah, that's true. I think this is absolutely a fact that critical thinking can break the some narratives. So about Asmongold, yeah, I like him because of that. Actually, I'm not saying that he's just say the correct thing every time. No, he make the mistakes. Sometimes he realize, sometimes no. We have disagreement, but that's good. He's open-minded and he talks about his ideas. He can articulate his opinion, which we need in democracy. It's that.
Especially among specific communities, there's a lot of
Do you think
hate.
critical thinking has declined? I think that critical thinking has not only has critical thinking declined, I think people have trained themselves for critical thinking to decline.
Yeah, and also I think the tolerance also has declined. You cannot just talk about even the common sense about J.K. Rowling. So you can see just talk about something that 10 years ago it was very logic. I mean, it is still a common sense in many countries, but even in Western countries like UK, like USA, I think it was something very clear a couple of years ago, 10 years ago. But I think people lost their tolerance and they use like cancel culture many times. So anyone that was famous and people didn't like their opinion, so they canceled them.
Because people that make mistakes and they critically think for themselves instead of just repeating what they've already heard and what they're supposed to say, those people get ostracized and they get kicked out of their community. So I think it's even farther than that. I think that people actively try to avoid critical thinking. They're afraid of critical thinking because that could put them in an opposition with people that they're on the same side with.
Yeah, because, you know, these people specifically can gain some benefits, especially like activists. They have benefits for the narrative that they are proposing. So when critical thinking happen, so their narrative can break. So they defend it as much as they can.
Towards him that is unwarranted and simply
a lot of
built on
people
lies.
get mad about
The more I looked into this, the weirder this echo chamber became.
Asmongold is just like someone who makes a living off stealing from other people.
It's like, you're a racist motherfucker. Asmongold is a fascist. He's just like actually one of the purest.
That's ridiculous. He's not a fascist. Why?
Examples of the moderate wing of fascism thing. Also,
Yes.
Asmongold's editor is a Nazi.
So Adolf.
Why? His editors are Nazis. Oh my God! You know, it's such a accusation, and these weaponizing the words like fascists, like Nazis, which really they overuse that for people who aren't clearly. Asmongold is not a fascist, for sure. From many opinions that I heard from him. But they just use it without having any shame. But what happened? You know, they use it against also Trump, but people, you know, finally they voted him, and he became the president. Because you cannot just by words use the words fascist, Nazis against anyone that their opinion are against yours. And you expect that other people also will follow your ideas. No, that will not work.
Junior. My editor is a Nazi. I guess we're not seeing his point of view.
Yeah.
That's too bad. Wow.
You're over here. This is the fake laugh he does, and I don't respect him at all. I don't know, maybe his audience is like 12-year-old boys. Maybe they really buy this and think it's funny.
He's racist.
Why people hate.
Maybe they really buy this and think it's him at all. I don't know, maybe his audience is like 12-year-old boys. Maybe they really.
Oh my God, he was talking about Asmongold. I was thinking that he was talking about the picture, the person who is there. Oh my God.
They buy this and think it's funny.
He's racist.
Why people hate Asmongold.
I mean, Asmongold, like
okay. And to be fair,
giving his opinion, and he's open-minded. He has critical thinking. He tried to analyze according to his core belief, his information, the ideas, the news. With many of them, I'm against that. And some of them I agree. But I think that's the functioning of a democracy. It's like that. We tolerate each other. People can tolerate each other for the different opinion.
I talked to Poke a little bit privately. It seems like we might be able to work things out. So no hate to Poke.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
In my research for this video, I genuinely tried to find actual substantial reasons for the hate outside of the lies. I'm an advocate of trying to see both sides' perspectives on any topic.
Jesus, bro. People
I found quite a few videos on YouTube that I'd like to unpack and try to understand why there is so much hate against Asmongold. First off, by what I've seen, a lot of the hate against Asmongold seems to have stemmed from other YouTubers' disdain for React content.
What I found to be really funny about people getting mad about React content is that this has totally done a U-turn. Is that now people are not mad that I'm reacting, they're mad that I aren't reacting. Sorry, that I'm not reacting. Like, there'll be a video that comes out and they'll be mad at me because I haven't watched it. And they saw that, and this happened with like the Elon Musk thing with Quinn's video. It happened with, I remember there was some Bernie Sanders video people wanted me to watch. And then it also happened with the Hassan content nuke from Ethan. And so now the entire narrative has shifted from no longer am I this parasite, but I'm now I'm the ring giver. I'm the person that they want me to react to the video because that legitimizes it. So I think,
you know, the React videos, the point about that is, you know, both sides can have some arguments. So one side is saying, by watching a video that someone else created, so you're just using that content and you're getting the views from that content from the other person, so you're just stealing it. But you know, the counter arguments of that is the fact that so when other YouTubers reacting to these contents, so these people, their viewers will know these people, these YouTubers. For example, me personally, I started knowing Asmongold by watching a React video. I didn't know anything about him, but I see a React video from another YouTuber, and I started to look at his channel. I found it, oh, he's a cool guy, and I started, and now I'm reacting to his videos because I found his videos fun and interesting. So it's the same that, so when the YouTubers are bigger in terms of their views, their subscribers, they can also generate and direct these views to the person that they are reacting to. That's happened frequently. Like as Asmongold also said, it's now if he don't react to the videos, people get mad because they know that it produces view now.
I think we've totally turned this around.
Researcher stumbled across a video titled Asmongold is Bad, Why I Don't Like Asmongold Videos by a channel called Savior 3.0.
In this video that he's reacting to my video, he's going to talk about how reactions are bad. Okay.
Video we hear the usual rant about React content having a negative impact on other channels and YouTube as a platform.
He gets the benefit from all of this unpaid labor. He gets the benefit from all of this hard work from other content creators, but he doesn't actually have to do any of the heavy lifting.
This YouTuber then played an excerpt from a large and actually pretty popular channel called Dark Viper AU.
Oh, we know Dark
Viper. Where he spoke in depth about why React content is bad for channels and the platform as a whole, using Asmongold as the primary example.
This guy has been mad about me for like, I think 4 or 5 years now. It's been crazy how long this guy's been mad.
Over the last few months, I've learned that very few people seem to understand why React content is harmful. React content is a system of exploitation that siphons an incalculable amount of money and exposure away from the hard-working into the pockets of the incredibly lazy.
Dark Viper had some decent points and clearly did a lot of research into this, but somehow in this whole video he missed what I believe is the most important aspect of React content. I'll actually read a comment that I found while watching this video because I think it best describes the problem with this argument. I don't agree with the idea that reaction content is stealing. When watching someone like Asmongold, it's not about the original video content itself. but rather about his personal take and commentary. People watch him because they want to hear his thoughts, see his reactions, and experience his unique perspective. His popularity is built on his personality and how he engages with the content, not just the content itself. Even if he simply talked about the videos without showing them, his audience will still tune in because they're following him and his reactions, not just the video being reacted to. Reaction content requires charisma, personal insight, and the ability to entertain, which is what draws viewers in. This is nearly a perfect comment.
Well, that's why a lot of people watch the videos that I do, right? I mean, there are people that, like, you know, there are people who react, and, like, I remember, you know who really fucking pissed me off about this was Emmy. Oh my fucking god. So she was gonna watch my video about the steak, and she was watching it with Bonnie. And the entire video, they're not even reacting or talking about the video that I'm doing at all. They just have the video on while they're talking about some other random fucking bullshit. I was losing my mind getting mad about this. I was, yeah, they didn't even react the right way.
In the context of Asmongold. But the only thing that is disputable is that not all React content is actually done in good faith.
No.
Some of it is blatant stealing. The Actman has a fantastic video titled The Dark Side of React Content that I completely recommend on this subject. In fact, in his video, he even mentions how Asmongold reacting to one of his videos, yes, affected its viewership negatively, but how he spoke to Asmongold and Asmon agreed to watch his videos a few days after release in the future.
What I realized is that if you're a big creator who's going to react to someone's video, you should wait at least 4 days for it to be pushed in the algorithm naturally. And that's what Asmon and I talked about and agreed on after.
Yeah, he and I were totally good. Like, I like the Act Man a lot. We've talked about that, a number of other things too, in DMs. Yeah, no problems.
This happened.
The Actman then went on to
100%.
talk about the positive impact reactors like Asmongold have had on his channel.
Some might say, but Actman, he's stealing views from you. Those views belong to you. Maybe they do. I can't say for certain, but what I can say is a lot of people who are subscribed to my channel wouldn't be subscribed if Asmongold never made these videos.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. This is the same thing as I said happened to me. I saw Asmongold by seeing a react video. So someone else was reacting to his video. So I start to know him, and after that I subscribe to him.
Although I agree with
There's positives and negatives. I think that's the truth is with React content, there are positives and negatives. Each case is going to be a little bit different. I personally think that if you make the argument with React content, I actually, and this is going to be maybe controversial, I don't think that you can't make that argument towards video games.
Yeah.
Because I think that...
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's true. The video games, I think people, when they watch the walkthrough, they are not going to buy the game after that. Why they should buy it, you know? Because basically, the game will not have any more, any interesting, any surprising element. They just know the story. They know every trick. I think the companies, they just lose money by that.
Watching somebody play a video game can, because the argument with React content is fundamentally that React content exists inside of the ecosystem and then therefore cannibalizes views away from the original content. And it effectively acts as a market replacement. I think that a lot of people watch video game playthroughs instead of buying a video game themselves. And I think if somebody does that, you also have an instance where a person who is performing much less labor and much less work is getting a disproportionate benefit from somebody else's labor and work that in some cases causes a market replacement for purchasing said work. So I think that if you look at it from that perspective, reacting to a video is not that much different than reacting to playing a video game. Help sales? Yeah, but you can say it helps sales, but at the same time, not always, right? Not always.
I mean, it depends on the game, but basically for the famous company like Resident Evil, Everyone knows that. So if people have access to watch the walkthrough, so why they are going to buy it? I mean, if they have the intention to buy the game, so they will not watch the walkthrough. This for sure, because the game is not very. You know, when you know what will happen, the game lose its surprising element, which in the horror games it's very important.
And that's the point. I think it's kind of different. I don't think it's different personally.
Of Dark Viper AU's video, there's something he says here at 15 minutes and 5 seconds that I completely disagree with.
I hope by the end of this video that you will come to understand why this exposure and money would either entirely or almost entirely have gone to other content creators if not for Asmongold's interference. Not just the people that Asmongold steals labor from, but everyone in the wider market.
You could easily say the same thing about every single channel on YouTube, including Dark Viper AU. Dark Viper has 1.5 billion views that could have otherwise gone somewhere else if he didn't have his channel.
Bottom line, a React video has the same value proposition as going to a movie with a friend. Seeing and discussing a movie with a friend can be more enjoyable than seeing it alone, but you would never say that the friend who took you to the movie should get a cut of the movie's proceeds for sitting in the chair and giving you his opinion on it.
This for me is a gross oversimplification of what is really...
If you look at a movie critic would be a better example. And also, like with a lot of movie critics and people like that, they do have Substack and they do have ads on the places where they review the movies. So like in the case of, if you want to have like a more specific example, I think that's not really the case.
Happening. I would say that React content is more likened to movie commentary. People
completely agree. Completely fucking agree. So true.
Choose to watch Asmongold or other React creators simply because they are entertaining. Dark Viper AU's video, while incredibly well made, also lacks a very basic understanding. People prefer to watch React content over original videos.
Some people do. Some people don't. Like for a lot of people, like that was actually one of the reasons too why there's a lot of videos that I don't really react to them right away, because I don't want to accidentally cannibalize views, because I know how the YouTube algorithm works very well. And that was one of the other like kind of secondary or tertiary reasons why I didn't react to Ethan's video right away.
Every single view is a real person.
But it does depend on the video. It really depends on the video. And also, like if I have a relationship with that person, like I was talking about, like with Actman, for example.
Living their real life by choosing how they spend their time. The argument that Asmongold interferes with other people's ability to make money is a massive over-exaggeration. This video clumps people who watch Asmongold as this collective hive mind that doesn't really think for itself. I would consider myself an Asmongold enjoyer, and I have absolutely nothing to do with anyone else who watches Asmongold's videos. I just choose what I want to do with my time as a casual guy going about my life.
What you do not see is every time any reaction video appears where your video would have otherwise appeared. Any time where one of your videos would have gotten an impression, except it then went to a reaction video.
Not true. Your recommendeds are based off of the things that you watch. So if I wasn't watching it, then and you weren't watching the original channel, it would have never been recommended in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. But okay. Okay, guys. So I'm a little bit tired. So I'm pretty tired actually. So I'm going to stop this stream, and I will continue tomorrow, hopefully. So have a good time, guys, and see you tomorrow.